Hi everyone, it's Veronica from Blue Star Crochet. I'm back with another stitch tutorial. In this week's tutorial, I would like to teach you how to work this lacy shell stitch, but this is done with Tunisian crochet. So we're going to learn the Tunisian lacy shell stitch and just look at the amazing drape that this beautiful stitch creates. This is one of the stitches that doesn't actually curl up at all. You can see the edges here, so there's no curl at all. I have used Signet Yarn's Cottony DK. I believe this yarn is now discontinued, but if you go onto yarnsub.com, you'll be able to find a suitable alternative. So we're going to get straight into the tutorial. So the Tunisian lacy shell stitch starts in the same way as any other Tunisian project. So we're going to start with a slip knot. I'm going to insert my hook. And this stitch actually works over the multiples of 5 plus 2. So that's your multiple if you wanted to adjust the size. So I'm going to chain 15 plus 2. So I'm going to chain 17 altogether. And I'm going to work the first row by inserting a hook into each chain stitch and leaving the loops on the hook. So I've got 1, 2, so I've got the starting chain of 17, which is 5 plus multiples of 5 plus 2, and I'm going to start working into the second chain from the hook, insert the hook, yarn over and pull up a loop. And I'm going to basically repeat this all across the starting chain. I have now inserted the hook into each chain stitch of the foundation chain, so I've ended up with 17 loops on the hook. So this is the standard way to start any Tunisian crochet project. But to create these lacy shells, we're going to create them on the return pass. Okay, so we're not just going to go straight through all the loops as normal, but we're going to now create those lacy shells. So we're going to yarn over and pull through the first loop like this. Okay, now we're going to chain 2. Okay, so yarn over and pull through, so that's 1 chain, yarn over, pull through, 2 chain. And now I'm going to yarn over and pull through 6 loops on the hook. Okay, so we're going to yarn over, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this. And as you can see, here is the first little shell appearing. Okay, so now what we're going to do is chain 4. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I'm going to again yarn over and I'm going to pull through 6 loops on the hook. So that's the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Okay, so here we go. And again, I'm going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, And again, I'm going to yarn over and pull through 6 loops on a hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now I am left with 2 loops on a hook. So I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. Okay, so as you can see, these are the lacy shells that are starting to appear, and as you can see, they're kind of worked upside down. Okay, so this is how we create the lacy shells on the return pass. Now, to work the forward pass, we're going to work into these chain stitches that we created as well. So my tip is not to chain too tightly, because you will need to insert the hook into every single chain that you've created on the return pass. So here we are going to work the next forward pass. Okay, so I'm going to insert the hook into each of these next 2 chains. So that's one here. This is what I said, don't chain too tight, because you will need to work into these chain spaces. Okay, so that's 1, 2. Okay, now I'm going to pull up a loop through this stitch here that kind of holds the shell together, so into kind of the top of the shell here. Okay, now this is the chain 4 that we created on the return pass. So I'm going to insert my hook into each of those 4 chains and pick up a loop through each one, 3 and 4. Okay, that takes me to the next shell, and I'm going to pick up another loop through the top of the shell. Okay, and we're back at the chain 4 space. So I'm going to insert the hook through each of those chains and pick up a loop through each one, and again 1 through the top of the shell. And now we're at the end where we chained 2, so I'm gonna go through each of those 2 chains, and that brings me onto the very last stitch, and I'm going to insert the hook under both strands of the last stitch and pick up a loop. Okay, so that's the forward pass. 17, that's right. Just checking that we haven't missed a stitch. So you should be back to 17 loops on the hook, or however many your original chain was. Okay, so I've got 17, that's what I originally started with, and now I'm going to show you the next return pass, which is a repeat of the very first return pass. So this is the return pass that we're going to create the shells. Okay, so we're going to yarn over and pull through the first loop on a hook. Then we're going to chain 2, so that's 1, 2, and now I'm going to yarn over and pull through 6 loops on a hook. So yarn over, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Now I'm going to chain 4 So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I'm going to yarn over and pull through 6 loops. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then yarn over and pull through 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you would basically repeat this, chain 4, pull through 6, all the way across your row, however many stitches you've chained originally, and you will repeat it until you have 2 loops left on your hook. And when you get to this point, all we need to do is chain 2, and then yarn over and pull through both loops on a hook. Okay, so that's basically it. As you can see, the lacy shells are starting to appear. If I flip the work kind of upside down, you will see better that they are shells. This stitch kind of benefits from a nice firm blocking to open up the lace part. As you can see on my shawl, once you kind of block it out, this is what it looks like. So this is basically, you're looking at it upside down. So when you work the stitch, you kind of work it this way. Okay, but obviously to show off the shell shape, we're gonna look at it this way. Okay, so that's the Tunisian lacy shell stitch. I hope you enjoyed today's video tutorial. The full written pattern is available for free on my blog, bluestarcrochet.com. I will leave a direct link in the description for this video if you wanted to check it out. And while you're there on the blog, subscribe to my newsletter where I will let you know about any new free patterns or stitch tutorials that I will put out in the future. So thank you for watching.